Perez on pole, Max down in 15th. It should make for a good Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Racing. We're here to cover today's qualifying results. A little bit late, but better late than never. And it was a Red Bull on pole. That's what everybody expected. However, it wasn't the Red Bull most people thought would get pole. It was in fact Sergio Perez, the Mexican, in the second Red Bull car. Max Verstappen blew up in quali and didn't go too well for him. And as soon as I say that, my throat just blows up. So, yeah, Perez on pole, Max on 15th, and we actually predicted here on the channel, we predicted that Perez would win in qualifying ahead of his teammate Max Verstappen. Now, we didn't expect Max Verstappen to have the engine problem, so yeah, would Perez have got pole on merit? I don't think so. I expected Perez to be right up there with Max because he is good at street circuits, but nah, man, I think you look at the practice sessions, I just don't think Perez was close enough to Max. He was quite a bit behind, and honestly, I think if Max doesn't have that issue, he probably takes pole by about half a second, but, you know, he did have that issue, and Perez was there to sweep up for Red Bull. So yeah, Perez on pole, Max blows up, and he starts 15th, and I wouldn't even count Max out. No, I would not count Max out of this race. I think Max will at least come through, and, you know, with the Red Bull car, he probably will get at least second. Maybe we'll get a couple of drivers that can hold him up along the way. I think Red Bull and Perez, would be, well, not Red Bull, they would be happy, but I think if Perez, unless something happens, if Perez loses to Max Verstappen in this race on legit pace, then, you know, there's definitely something to worry about. However, it is a street circuit, chances of a safety car, chances of a virtual safety car, you know, all that goes up. So even though Max Verstappen is starting further back, you know, he could do a long stint, and you never know, maybe even do one less stop, and we could see a crash / safety car bring Max in to play. But yeah, so Perez got pole then after Max was out. If we look at the other drivers, we can see that Leclerc qualified in second. However, he's got a 10 place grid penalty, so he will start the race in 12th. Fernando Alonso then in third. He will move up into second. We've got Russell was 4th, Sainz 5th, Stroll 6th, Ocon 7th, Lewis Hamilton down in 8th, Pastari 9th, and Pierre Gasly rounding out the top 10. Fuck off, Crash, I do not want to sign up for anything. But yeah, no, Lewis Hamilton coming out, and obviously he's going to play up the fact that the car isn't good, and Total Wolf's coming out, and he is going to, you know, try and protect Hamilton by saying the car's not good enough and the car's off the pace. But at the end of the day, it's Lewis Hamilton who was off the pace here, 4 tenths off his teammate. If George Russell can put the Mercedes in 4th, if he can be about a 10th off Fernando, then why can't Lewis Hamilton be there? Why can't Lewis Hamilton be up trying to challenge Fernando for 3rd place? You know, I mean, to maybe lose to Fernando, that's one thing. To lose to your teammate, fair enough. But, I mean, he's lost to the 2nd Ferrari. He's lost to the 2nd Aston Martin, and he's lost to an Alpine. So, yeah, no, I mean, the Mercedes car, it might be 4th fastest at the moment. I'm not denying that, but I think Hamilton is being protected. You know, how about he's just not delivering? And how about ever since they got rid of Bottas, ever since George came in, Hamilton just hasn't looked so dominant. We can say he's not had a dominant car, but in comparison to his teammate, that's the first guy you judge a driver by. And yeah, he hasn't really, you know, been that impressive in my opinion against Russell. So yeah, Hamilton, I think, is struggling at the moment. We've got Hulkenberg in 11th, Su in 12th, Magnus in 13th, Bottas 14th. Like I said, Max will start in 15th. And then the bottom 5, Shinoda, Albon, De Vries, Norris and Sargent. Both Williams going out in Q1, I thought was a little bit surprising. It looked like Sargent had pace, but he couldn't just get a lap together, and he ended up being over 2 minutes on the lap time. So, yeah, no, I think Williams are probably slightly out of place on this grid. Lando Norris, I think, so maybe a little bit unlucky. I thought the Mercedes looked pretty good. I mean, Oscar Pastari was just a smidgen behind Lewis Hamilton, so Lewis could have another car behind him. But yeah, no, I think the McLarens actually look not bad here. I know they start off the season pretty poor, but I think McLaren overall are probably still the fifth fastest car. But we move on to the race now, guys, and it's going to be really interesting. Alonso in second place. When was the last time Alonso started a race this high up on the front row? Honestly, I cannot remember. I would have to assume it's like maybe 2013, 14. Yeah, it must be at least that. I don't remember him ever starting front row with Alpine, and McLaren was crap, so he never started front. I would say maybe even 2013, he maybe got the front row there, but even then, it might be even further back than that. So anyway, yeah, Alonso, can he win the race? I don't know. I think you would need to probably try and take Perez into turn one. Now, you never know, Perez could have an issue, engine failure, he can crash, it is a street circuit. So, yeah, no, Alonso's got a chance, but in terms of can he win the race on outright pace, I'm not convinced. And in fact, instead of battling the Red Bull in front of him, I think he might be battling the Red Bull behind him, because honestly, I expect Max to come through and I expect Max to finish. He should finish on the podium, let's be honest. If he keeps it clean and he's got the pace that he has shown over the weekend, then yeah, no, Max. If he gets the right strategy, who knows, maybe we'll get a train, maybe Max will get stuck in it. So anything could happen. First turn collision, but I think if Max can avoid that and he goes longer or stuff like that, or he maybe does a shorter pit stop, if he can get himself some free air, then I believe with his pace he'll still be contending. Maybe not for the win, maybe not on outright pace. I think it'd be pretty embarrassing if Perez lost this on outright pace alone. But like I said, safety car or anything like that can bring Max right into play. Anyway, guys, that's it. Looking forward to this race. Very refreshing to see like a mixed up grid. We have with Red Bull, Aston Martin, Mercedes, Ferrari. I mean, to have 4 different manufacturers, 4 different cars in the top 4 spots. For me, that's brilliant. Like to see it, and really looking forward to the race tomorrow. So, race review coming. We'll do driver ratings too, and if anything controversial or interesting happens, then we'll be making a vid on that here on the channel as well, guys. So leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one, and of course, until then, till next time, peace.